Hello, my name is Alex Vermeer. I'm doing the Master in Imagineering, and I've done my research for Viveno, which is a company in healthcare. Viveno stands for Vitaal Venlo Noord, and it has 4 different entities within one building, which they have, for instance, a psychologist, a physiologist, lifestyle management, and 2 facilities, which are a gym and a swimming pool. And my research was about how can I define or design an integrated vision with these 4 companies. Now, to reach those or reach the integrated vision, I needed to formulate some objectives. Sorry, to investigate the strengths and weaknesses by collecting and analyzing data, to gain understanding of which weaknesses have to be reframed to opportunities to stimulate organizational transformation, and to examine in which way these separate entities can collaborate in order to create a viable collaboration in the future. Now, some research questions needed to be answered to get to the research objectives, and those were I needed to find out what the core business was of each company to see where the similarities were, how creativity and collaboration can effectively contribute towards the knowledge to improve the integrated vision of these 4 different companies, and to find out what the internal as well as the external stakeholders think about how these companies could transform into a transformative direction. I used desk research. I used to define the scope of my research. I first had a look at the outside, what can influence my research, which is what are the changes in healthcare, what are the changes in society. After that, I tried to link it to what the core businesses were of each entity, and eventually, using a process, I defined how to get to the integrated vision. Furthermore, I used a creative session as field research to find out what the motives were of the internal stakeholders, and use thematic analysis to analyze the data. The findings, there were 2 definite findings, because 2 of the entities decided that they didn't want to invite external stakeholders in the process because they weren't ready for it yet. I focused on the constraints, which is they didn't have any time and they didn't communicate with each other in order to define the integrated vision. And therefore, the reason I focused on the constraints is because they first need to reform or reframe these constraints in order to actually design the integrated vision. Because if you don't have time, you cannot communicate. And if you don't communicate, you can never find the integrated vision or collaborate together. So therefore, I focused my inspirational guide and my artifact, I focused on trying to reframe these 2 constraints. And that's why I came up with time for teamwork. Time for teamwork is the idea behind it. You have a clock face, and they need to come together once a day or once a week to collaborate, so to team up. So it's time for teamwork. The reason I use the 4 is it has 3 meanings. One is for the word 4. The 4 represents the organizations which are trying to collaborate within the building. And the 4 stands for 4 o'clock, which is what I'd like to get them to collaborate with each other at 4 o'clock, at least every day or every week, depending on how their schedules are. But the inspirational guide adds to that, because the inspirational guide is set to a timer, and the timer will go on at 4 o'clock, which will remind them that it's time for teamwork. The inspirational guide, furthermore, is separated in 4 different building blocks, which each represent the 4 companies. And on top, it's a top of the pyramid, which is where they all come together. So one of the recommendations was to define or divide their time into the 80-20% rule, which is the Pareto's principle. So 80% goes into their core business and 20% is time for collaboration. And that's why only the top 20% of the inspirational guide is where they come together. Furthermore, what I recommend is having a coordination team which coordinates the collaboration of these 4 entities, because each entity works separately and they don't have any director or coordinator above them. So in order to get everyone motivated to collaborate with each other, they need a single or a coordination team which can ensure them that they use their time wise and efficiently in order to collaborate. And furthermore, this is a recommendation which was mentioned in the qualitative interviews. Is each of the building and each organization has a separate entrance, so they don't really speak with each other because they don't really meet up with each other. Everybody uses their own entrance, as well as the customers use different entrances to gain entrance to the building. And therefore, some customers don't even know that there is, for instance, a swimming pool or a gym or a lifestyle coach. So in order to get this awareness for the customers, they should put some stripes on the wall, which connects all the different organizations with each other. So if customers come in through one entrance, they will notice, oh, hey, look, there's a swimming pool, there's a lifestyle coach, there's a physiotherapist, and therefore create a lot more awareness in which they can combine and collaborate eventually with the external stakeholders when they're ready for it. Thank you very much.